Hello listeners, today we will talk about gender and disability 2. This is a part of the BGSE 001 Gender Sensitization, Society, Culture and Change. Let us discuss what is gender and disability. In this video, we will talk about understanding the concept of disability, type of 21 disabilities, relationship between gender and disabilities, barriers for women with disabilities, and empowerment of women with disabilities. What are the learning outcomes of this video? Number 1, explain disability and its various types. Number 2, discuss the barriers and challenges faced by women with disability. Number 3, address the issues related to empowerment of women with disabilities. Number 4, enumerate the various facilities available for students with disabilities in IGNOU. Let us discuss what is disability. In India, we define disability as per the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, and this act says disability means a person with long-term physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairment which in interaction with barriers hinders his or her full and effective participation in society equally with others. It means because of their disability, they are not able to participate in various intellectual, mental or sensory related activities of society. There are 21 types of disabilities as per Rights of Person with Disabilities Act: locomotor disability, leprosy cured, cerebral palsy, dwarfism, muscular dystrophy, acid attack, blindness, low vision, deaf, hard of hearing, speech and language disability, intellectual disability, specific learning disabilities, autism spectrum disorder, mental illness, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, hemophilia, thalassemia, sickle cell disease and multiple disabilities. Let us discuss what are these disabilities. Number 1, we will talk about locomotor disabilities, and there are several disabilities that come under this. Locomotor disability is a person's inability to execute distinctive activities associated with movement of self and objects resulting from affliction of musculoskeleton or nervous system or both, and it include leprosy cured, means those people who might have been affected by leprosy and they are cured, but there are deformities in his or her body. Number 2 in locomotor disability is cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy means a group of non-progressive neurological conditions affecting body movement and muscle coordination. It is caused by damage in one or the more specific area of the brain, usually occurring before, during or short after birth. Then there is the disability dwarfism. Anybody who is having a height of less than 4 feet comes under dwarfism. And this category is included in Right of Person with Disabilities Act in 2016. And then there is a disability muscular dystrophy. It means a group of hereditary genetic muscle disorders that weakens the muscles that move the human body, and person with multiple dystrophy has incorrect and missing information in their genes, which prevents them from making the protein they need for healthy muscles. It is characterized by progressive skeleton muscle weakness, defects in muscle protein and the death of muscle cells and tissue. And because of this, there is lot of degeneration in the body, and people affected by this disability find it difficult to do their daily routine activity. And then there is a disability called acid attack victim. It also comes under locomotor disabilities. Anybody who has acid attack on them and there are deformities in body, that is called acid attack victim. And then there are visual impairment. In visual impairment, two types of conditions are covered: blindness and low vision. It means total absence of sight or visual acuity not exceeding 6/60 or 20/200 in the better eye with correcting lenses, and limitation of the field vision extending an angle of 20° or worse. A person with impairment of visual functioning but is potentially capable of using vision for planning or execution of a task with appropriate assistive devices. So, if anybody can be provided assistive devices to view certain objects and that comes in under low vision. Then comes hearing impairment. In hearing impairment, there are two types of conditions that are covered. One is deaf. Deaf means person having 70 decibel hearing loss in speech frequency in both ears. And hard of hearing means person having 60 decibel to 70 decibel hearing loss in speech frequency in both ears. So, because of this they are not able to hear. Then comes the condition speech and language disability. It means a permanent disability arising out of conditions such as laryngectomy or aphasia affecting one or more components of speech and language due to organic or neurological causes. Then comes intellectual disability. Intellectual disability means a condition characterized by significant limitation both in intellectual functioning, means reasoning, learning, problem solving, and its adaptive behavior, which covers a range of everyday social and practical skills, including specific learning disability. Specific learning disability means a heterogeneous group of conditions wherein there is a deficit of processing language, spoken or written, that may manifest itself as a difficulty to comprehend, speak, read, write, spell or to do mathematical calculations, and include such conditions as perceptual disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia and developmental aphasia. Basically, in learning disabilities, the person or the child who is affected with these disabilities, they are not able to, in sometimes they are not able to read, sometimes they have difficulty in writing certain things and or mathematical calculations. So, it is a difficulty that is there in learning, and it can be in all the areas of learning or in one particular area of learning. Then there is autism spectrum disorder that also comes under intellectual disabilities. It means a neurodevelopmental condition typically appearing in the first 3 years of life that significantly affects a person's ability to communicate, understand relationship and relate to others, and is frequently associated with unusual or stereotypical rituals of behavior. Mental illness. Mental illness means a substantial disorder of thinking, mood, perception, orientation or memory that grossly impairs judgment, behavior, capacity to recognize reality or ability to meet the ordinary demands of life, but does not include retardation, which is a condition of arrested or incomplete development of mind of a person, especially characterized by subnormality of intelligence. It means persons who are having mental illness, mental illness is a condition where their growth is not retarded. They might generate this condition later on, and it is different from mental retardation that is now called as intellectual disability. Chronic neurological conditions. Under chronic neurological conditions, multiple sclerosis comes. It means an inflammatory nervous system disease in which the myelin sheets around the axons of nerve cells of brain and spinal cord are damaged, leading to demyelination and affecting the ability of nerve cell in brain and spinal cord to communicate with each other. Then comes Parkinson's disease. It means a progressive disease of the nervous system marked by tremor, muscular rigidity and slow, imprecise movement, chiefly affecting middle-aged and elderly people, associated with degeneration of the basal ganglia of brain and deficiency of the neurotransmitter dopamine. So then comes blood disorders. In blood disorders, hemophilia is there. Hemophilia means an inheritable disease usually affecting only male but transmitted by women to their male children, characterized by loss or impairment of normal clotting ability of blood so that minor wound may result in fatal bleeding. Thalassemia. Thalassemia means a group of inherited disorders characterized by reduced or absent amount of hemoglobin. And then comes sickle cell disease. It means a hemolytic disorder characterized by chronic anemia, painful events and various complications due to associated tissue and organ damage. Hemolytic refers to the destruction of cell membrane of red blood cells resulting in the release of hemoglobin. Then comes multiple disabilities. More than one of the above specified disabilities, including deaf blindness, which means a condition in which a person may have combination of hearing and visual impairments causing severe communication, developmental and educational problems. So these are some of the disabilities, in fact all the 21 disabilities that are defined under Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. Now let's talk about gender and disability. Disability and gender are linked with each other. Society has certain expectations from a man like strength, physical ability, economic power and autonomy. Similarly, from a woman, they expect that she should be beautiful and a homemaker, a wife, mother, and who would be able to do the household work. Whereas the woman having disability does not fit at all into these stereotyped images, and generally they are seen for their passivity and dependency. So being a woman and having disability is a double burden on a woman. So basically, if we think it from the gender perspective, it is treated as a disadvantaged position. Women with disability in society. Let's see how women with disabilities are seen in society. When a girl is born in the family, they are taken as a burden and liability in the family, and they are dealt with pity and charity in society. They are subject to strong social stigma within community and families. They are much more likely to be illiterate and out of school. If the family has a limited amount of money, they are likely to spend the money more on the boy and less on the girl, or at all they may not send the girl to the school. They have much lower employment rate. They have low awareness of rights and entitlements, and they are more likely to be in low income groups because they have not been provided the facilities, and they have not been provided the education, vocational training and employment facilities. Because of that, they are likely to be in the low income group. Let's discuss the barriers for women with disabilities. What kind of barriers they face? First barrier is attitudinal barrier. The attitude of their parents. When a girl with disability is born in the family, they are in the situation of denial. They don't accept whether the child is having a disability. Then they are in shock. They feel why it has been to us, and then they reject that. They feel stigma, and later on they accept, and sometimes they overprotect the child. Either they reject the child or overprotect, or they neglect the child. Then what kind of barriers are there in society? In society they feel rejection, or some people also show sympathy, pity, segregation, bad omen, and there are several myths related to disabilities in society. Then the barriers from self. As a woman, they feel inadequate, they have anxiety, insecurity, frustration, symptoms of withdrawal, introversion, they are introvert, stigma is there, low self-esteem, and as a result they go in isolation. They don't mingle with others and they feel isolated. Then the portray of women in media. Either they portray them in a negative sense, like they will show a woman with disability as a beggar or a comic character or wicked, or show charity or pity for them. Or sometimes they will show it as a positive thing, and in that they will show superhuman ability, and they'll show it can be curable. Superstitions are shown in that. Basically, both the attitude are not good for any person, and especially for women with disabilities. They should be treated as a human being, as a person who is having certain inabilities, and those can be intervened with the help of support system. So if that kind of attitude is provided, then that is better for the growth and development of women with disabilities. Then challenges for women with disabilities. There are a lot of challenges that women with disabilities face in their life, but we'll discuss a few of them. One is lack of belief in women with disabilities. People feel, society and family, they feel that they are not capable, they are not capable of going out, they are not strong enough, and they won't be able to do justice if they are given any work. So that kind of belief is there. And then lack of education and training, they are not provided education and best training. So, and safe environment is not there, so that is also a challenge for them. And lack of assistive devices. If a woman is having locomotor disability, and if she need a good kind of wheelchair, so that is not available, or if they need, they are low vision, so they need some assistive devices to help reading and all, but those kind of devices are not available, so that is also a challenge for them. And then lack of transport facility, and because of this they are not able to commute from one place to other, and as a result family also think they should be kept in home, or they should be provided guided support. And then lack of vocational education facilities. So there are very few vocational education facilities that are available for women with disabilities, and especially for women with the visual impairment and women with the locomotor disability, it is all the more difficult to get any vocational education and trained in the thing, and as a result they are not economically and independent. Then lack of access to various facilities in the community, like they are not able to go to marketplaces, for leisure, for malls, and for using the public toilets. So all these kinds of things that are other person or other women enjoy, they as being a woman with disability are deprived of that, because there are accessibility issues, there are issues that hinders their movement freely in the society. Then way forward for empowering women with disabilities. So we have discussed about the challenges and like what are the barriers for them. So how we can empower women with disabilities in society? First and foremost thing is early intervention. Whenever a child is born, early intervention is very important. When we know, yes, this child has, like suppose a child is born and he or she, if she has hearing disability or speech or hearing related disability, if early intervention is provided, then they can be trained and they can be made independent. And if the training is good at the early stages of life, then they can be sent for education, and after education they can be trained in vocational facilities. So early intervention is very important part of girl's life, and in fact a life of a child with disability. Then awareness in family and community. It is very important. The family and community should also know what are the developmental milestones of a child, and if those milestones are lacking, or if they are not making the progress as they should have made, the family and the community should be worried, and they should also think about the intervention, what kind of intervention can be provided and what could be done, and they can take specialized and expert support. Then educational facilities should be available for empowering the women with disabilities. They should be sent to the schools, and they should be provided the inclusive education facilities where they can learn with other peers in the classroom. Then vocational training is very important for their empowerment. So if the vocational training is provided as per their situation, as per their location and geographical condition, so they can become an independent and economically viable human being. Then employment options will also be provided to them if vocational training is there. And accessibility is very important. They should have easy access to their schools, their vocational training center, their employment places, their homes, markets, cinema halls, railway station, bus stations, transport, everything should be accessible. If that is provided, then they would definitely be empowered. And apart from that, there is a need to include them in various programs of government. All the programs of government should have gender budgeting. In fact, most of the program in government have now, like how gender is included in their program. So, but while planning any program, the needs of women with disabilities should be kept in mind, and a certain percentage of each program should be earmarked for women with disabilities. So, these are some of the ways that can empower women with disabilities. Let's discuss what are the provisions for students with disabilities in IGNOU. As you might be aware, IGNOU is a mega open university, and we have more than 35 lakh students enrolled in various programs of our university. And in last 5 years, there are more than 20,000 students with disabilities who were enrolled in various programs of IGNOU. So, what can be done for these students, and what kind of facilities are provided in IGNOU to the students with disabilities, and that includes women with disabilities. Reservation in admission as per rules, and then accessible self-learning material is provided. Sugamya Pustakalaya is there, e-Gyan Kosh is there, e-content mobile application is there, flexibility to learners for giving typed assignments. Then they are provided a scribe during examination. Then extra time is given to them during examination. Accessible campus is there. IGNOU brochure is available in sign language for the learners who are deaf. And we have a grievance redressal officer in the university for the grievances of students with disabilities. And there is an internal committee at IGNOU for taking care of needs of persons with disabilities. And there is National Center for Disability Studies that provides support to the students with disabilities. And there is Equal Opportunity Cell that is recently set up. Apart from other things, this cell provides support to students with disabilities, with genders, different caste, ethnicity, religion, all those kinds of learners who are having diverse needs, if they have any issues, they can contact Equal Opportunity Cell. So all these is being provided in IGNOU. So let's sum up. So we have discussed in this video that disability is a long-term situation as a physical, mental, intellectual or sensory impairment which in interaction with the barriers hinders a person's full and effective participation in society equally with others. And there are 21 kind of disabilities, and disability and gender are linked with each other, and society has certain expectations from a man and a woman, and accordingly their gender roles are defined. And women with disabilities face lot of barriers in their life, and these barriers can be removed by taking certain actions at various levels. And apart from that, university provides various supports to the students with disabilities in line with the Government of India policies, UGC policies, and the guidelines given by Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment from time to time. So these are the things that are provided and to the students, girl students or students who are having disability. And for this presentation, I have referred the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016 and an article by Hemlata, Issues and Concerns of Women with Disabilities in Status of Indian Women. So thank you. I hope you like this presentation. Thank you.